Representative Kaufer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have several questions, and I apologize, but I
One at a time.
I
Other
will
people are here.
I will try to be brief, but
Just take them one at a time, one subject at a time.
Absolutely, thank you. And my first one is, you mentioned in our Legislative Budget and Finance Committee that there will be an increase in taxes, a tax increase. Do you have any percentage or dollar amount that we're talking about that this would generate?
I believe the Senate report was saying that compared to other gaming states that offer 24-hour gaming, and part of that study also addressed smoking, which I do not want to raise at this hearing. The states that offer 24-hour gaming have higher revenues, but in part because of how customers are based and where those customers are located and how the operations generally run. I mentioned about us being in Southeast Pennsylvania. We have a higher population density where workers have different shift hours. And the e-consult study, what was done for the Senate Finance Committee, made the recommendation of expanding hours, and you will increase our revenues, which obviously we have a 55% slot tax, a 12% gaming table game tax, plus we're paying sales tax on top of the alcoholic beverages we're serving. That increased sales will also increase those taxes and revenues. I think that's what they referred it to.
I guess because there are examples out there that I guess there are case studies that we can look at, whether it's New Jersey or Maryland, to see in the year that it's been implemented what the changes would be. Because I did a quick little research as we were talking here at Mohegan Sun, which is my closest casino, that when we offered during gaming draft free comped beer or comped beverages, draft beer consumption grew at 350%. We had a daily average of 393 draft beers, shot up to 1,422 average daily. And obviously some of that drinking is because it's free and people are already gaming, and some of it's got to be from people who are coming to game because it's free. So there is certainly a balance between the two. And, I guess my question is, this was just enacted in 2013. This came into play, the free comps. And now when we were there, we were talking about drinking for free when gaming. Now we're talking for free when not gaming, drinking 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I guess the question I'm getting at is, what should the bars and taverns expect? Because they expect fair and equal treatment under the law. And when is enough enough? What is it that, Representative Mustio kind of brought my question that Mr. King, you asked, Pennsylvania's gaming industry is at significant risk. Will this really reduce that risk that we're talking about? Will this generate this revenue that will make us more competitive?
Well, I think a couple things. With all due respect to the restaurants and bars and taverns, and I acknowledge they will disagree, we really don't see them as being our competitors. The competitors are the casinos in the other states, the 49 that I mentioned. Look, you raise very valid points. They're policy points, and there's a balancing act that the General Assembly needs to consider. As I mentioned, this is but one of a list, and what I'd like to do is to provide your executive director, or at least of the Liquor Committee, with a copy of the letter so you can see it in its totality. At the end of the day, it's a business decision. It's a policy decision. The way we set up this act in 2004 provides a 55% tax rate on slots. There's a lower rate on tables, obviously. It is sending significant tax dollars to the Commonwealth. It is in everyone's interest, both the state, the Commonwealth, and the operators, for these facilities to continue to be as competitive as they can be against the other competitive states. The General Assembly got it right in 2004. Pennsylvania got into this early. The tax rate was aggressive, but it has worked. And as you saw in my numbers, it is the highest amount of tax revenue in the country. You have surpassed New Jersey. So it's a decision to be made, both sort of from a tax business perspective and from all the very legitimate policy issues that you bring up. Our job in terms of representing clients or our employers is to simply say, these are issues that you need to look at, if you want to help this industry remain competitive. And while, you know, maybe it's a small math problem between 1.4 billion and 1.3 billion, but as that continues to whittle down, if it does, that's going to be another problem or issue for the General Assembly to address.